Hi guys, School here, back with some more Dovetail games at Flight School. We're going to continue the lessons here. We're done for lesson 1 and lesson 2. If you've missed those two, then they are linked in the video description. Today we're going to do lesson 3 and probably 4, depending on how long it is. I'm kind of guessing that 5 might be a bit longer. We'll see how it goes, and then we're going to get the skills test, light aircraft pilot license. You will need to accrue 3 hours of solo flight time in order to free up this mode before you can attempt this lesson. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to get to do these two. Then this one, I'm going to have to fly a lot more because I've only got 21 minutes, and then we're going to have to do that one. So let's do this, climbs and descent. The goal of this lesson is to learn how to climb and descend at a constant speed. Now you know how to trim the aircraft, you can now use pitch to control the airspeed and power for altitude. Of the music. Oh, here we are.
Okay, now that you know the fundamentals of flying straight and level, how about learning how to climb and descend?
Sure thing.
Your goal in this lesson is to climb and descend at a constant airspeed. In the takeoff lesson, you learn to pitch for 75 miles per hour, which is the aircraft's best rate of climb speed. Okay, you have control.
Nope.
Go ahead and add full power.
He's mad on full power, this
Good.
guy.
Let's pretend we just took off. Adjust the pitch to maintain 75 miles per hour as you climb.
Okay, let's start climbing.
That's right, and don't forget to use trim to help you hold 75 miles per
I'm
hour.
already trimmed out, pal.
And the airspeed's a bit high. Gently pull back on the stick to reach 75 miles per hour.
Yes, I did do, and then the trim just decided to settle back into a different position, so let's try that again.
We're fast. Raise the nose a bit
okay,
to slow down to
stop
75
nagging.
miles per hour.
Flipping heck, mate.
Good, now pitch down to hold this altitude.
Okay.
Stay at full throttle until the airspeed reaches 90 miles per hour. Then reduce power to 2100 RPM to hold that speed.
Okay, 2100.
Okay,
90.
now I want to see you fly straight and level at 90 miles per hour and 3,000 feet.
Okay, let's do that then.
When you pitch to hold your desired airspeed, you can adjust your altitude by just adding or reducing power.
Yeah, well, not if you've told me to do 2100
If you
RPM.
pitch up or down without adjusting power, you can exchange speed for altitude, or altitude for speed. By adjusting power, you can change one without changing the other.
Clever girl.
Good, you haven't forgotten how to fly straight and level.
True story.
Now, down we go. Descend to 2,000 feet. To begin the descent, reduce the power to idle.
Idle.
Adjust pitch to maintain 75 miles per hour in the descent until we reach 2,000 feet.
Okay. 75. Coming
Remember,
up.
use trim to help you hold 75 miles per hour.
There you go. That's 75. He's kind of obsessed with 75, isn't he?
Good. Hold 75 miles per hour all the way down to 2,000 feet.
Okay. 75. We are coming down. 2,000. 250.
We're approaching 2,000 feet.
We are.
Be ready to increase pitch and power so that we level out right on altitude. Here's 2,000. Pitch up to maintain this altitude and adjust the power to fly at 90 miles per hour.
Oh, you want to do 90 now? You could have told me before,
Be
then I
sure
could
to
actually
trim the
plan for
aircraft
this
to
stuff.
maintain 90 miles per hour. Well done, you're a natural. Of course, I'm a pretty good instructor too.
Oh yeah, you're the best, mate. Oh, there you
Just
go.
remember, use pitch for airspeed and power for altitude, and you'll be fine.
So, yeah, he's saying that you can push the stick forward and backwards to adjust your pitch, and that will obviously change your airspeed. And then, if you want to change altitude, it's simply a matter of putting more power in, and you'll just naturally start to climb up. And if you take the power back out again, you'll naturally start to go down. It's all logical stuff to me because I've done it for quite a while. Years, in fact. But, you know, if you're new to this, this is actually really useful, you know? The whole point of this is to teach you the basics, and I think so far it's doing a reasonable job. I kind of think that at the end of the lesson, though, it would be better if it said to you, just pop a button up down the bottom, rather than ending the scenario with a bit of music. Just pop a button up down the bottom and saying, you know, click to exit when you're ready. And then just let you carry on a little bit, because, okay, you've just taught me something here, but I actually want to carry on a little bit longer and just practice it. Don't make me go and, you know, jump out of this lesson, jump into another flight. You know, let me just play around a bit, because playing around is the way to learn. So if I've got one little criticism, that would be it. Just allow the scenario to continue, and for me to just mess about. But mark it as done. Anyway, let's move on to the next one, see what that's about. Turns to headings. Now that you're able to fly a steady altitude and speed, we'll move on to the fundamental skill of being able to turn the aircraft left or right, help while maintaining constant speed and altitude. Remember, the steeper you turn, the quicker your speed will drop. Keep an eye on your airspeed throughout. Yeah, I mean, there are... effectively, when you do start to turn, a number of things will happen. But in particular, you'll also start to lose altitude, because when you're horizontal, the wings generate the most lift. When you angle them, they generate less and less lift, and so you're eventually at 90 degrees, they generate no lift at all. So there is that. So as you start to make a turn, you do have to compensate for what's going on with your speed and altitude. So we'll see. We'll see what he says.
You're catching on quickly. Of course, in order to actually fly somewhere, you need to know the next fundamental maneuver, turning.
Yes.
Your goal in this lesson is to turn to the headings I specify while maintaining 90 miles per hour and 2,000 feet. You can see your heading by looking at the top of the heading indicator in the center right of the bottom row of the instrument panel. To turn, you'll move the stick left or right to bank the wings in the direction you want to go. Be sure to keep an eye on your altitude. The steeper you bank, the more the nose will want to drop. Ready to give it a go?
Oh yeah.
Okay, you have control.
Okay, let's throttle back.
Move the stick left to start banking left.
Okay, starting to bank left now.
That's enough bank.
Never quite sure what this guy wants me to do. Okay, that's enough bank. I mistook that for that's stop turning.
Keep turning until you reach a heading of 270 degrees or west.
Okay, so we're turning all the way around to the west. Let's do that. I'm trying to maintain it at roughly 90 miles per hour as well. Don't know what speed he wants me to go. He's not really specified, to be honest. Just doing a gentle turn. Trying to keep the speed at 90 and the altitude roughly level.
Try to roll out at exactly 270.
There you go. How's that?
There. That wasn't difficult, was it?
No.
Let's try another one. Turn right and head east. That's 90 degrees or 090.
Turn right. So we're basically going the opposite way now. Let's get a bit more power because we're losing a little bit of altitude there. Pull the nose back as well because we're all starting to gain too much speed as well. Rolling out. 090.
Excellent. You're getting the hang of this. Let's try something slightly more precise. Turn right to a heading of 175 degrees.
Okay. So, south is 180. But you can see the number there, 112, which is 120. 15, which is 150. South is 18, which is 180. And then? We want
And
roughly...
here's 175 degrees.
Right.
You're a quick learner. You're a little low. Climb back up to 2,000 feet.
Okie doke.
Now you know how to turn. Just bank in the direction you want to go, and hold the nose up to maintain your altitude.
See, look, you just said you're a little low, and then said, right, that's the end of the scenario, bye! Like, let me carry on a bit. Let me just do a bit more. They should give you, like, the basics here. It should be... That should be the basic minimum. And then if you go, yeah, I want to carry on, it should just give you a few more. Just let you get used to it. Too short is what I'm saying. Too short. Let's go for approach and landing. An important skill to master is smooth landings. You should treat the aircraft with respect during the entire phase of descent to touchdown. You will need to be one step ahead of all times. You need to set up the aircraft for landing, maintain your rate of descent by controlling power, lowering flaps, and pitching the aircraft up and down to finely tune your approach. Alright.
White Waltham radio, Cub Golf Delta Lima, downwind for runway 25, full stop. Okay, you have control.
Thanks.
Hold 1,000 feet, 70 miles per hour, and a heading of 090 degrees. Ready to return to Earth? Believe it or not, you've already learned everything you need to know to land. You just need to put it all together. I'll walk you through it. We'll land on that runway, just off the left wing.
That one.
You're a little fast. Slow to 70 miles per hour.
Yes, I am doing so. I am doing.
First we'll start descending, then we'll make a left turn all the way round to line up with the runway. The secret to making a good landing is a stable approach. Remember, set the throttle control and leave it alone. Use pitch to control airspeed.
So you just tell me things there that are wrong, because he's saying set the throttle and leave it alone. In a minute, he's going to tell me to go down to 1400, which means I have to move the throttle.
Alright, it's time to start descending to the runway. Reduce power to 1400 RPM and lower the nose a bit. Then lower one notch of flaps.
Okay, one notch of flaps is in.
For now, leave the power at 1400 RPM and trim for 55 miles per hour.
Let's bring that speed down to 55 before he starts having a go at me again. Okay. There's 55 on the money. So our descent rate is like 300
Now
feet.
turn left to 340 degrees.
300
Be sure
feet
to
a minute.
maintain 55 miles per hour.
Okay. So I'm not touching the throttle. I'm just going to pitch up when I need to slow down. Push forward if I need to speed up.
And now start watching the runway. Our next turn will be to line up for landing. That's right. You can tell you're lined up properly when the runway appears straight up and down compared to the horizon.
I would have thought that was fairly obvious, but... He's telling me headings that are not right, because he said 340, but look at this. That green
Go
dot
ahead and turn towards the runway.
is
Runway
way
heading is
different.
250 degrees.
Go.
Go ahead and lower the flaps to 20 degrees. Now adjust pitch and power to maintain 50 miles per hour to the runway. Right on speed and glide slope. Very nice.
Right on speed and glide
From here,
slope.
watch the numbers on the runway. Fly right at them. Maintain 50 and keep those numbers motionless on the windscreen.
There's 50 on the money. As best as I can get it. Okay, looking good, I think. Just keeping it.
Pull the power back to idle. Slowly raise the nose until we settle onto the runway. Use rudder to stay on the runway centerline.
Okay, it was a little bit harsh. I don't think I would have pulled the power out, to be honest. I think I'd have probably just come back on
Good.
it gently.
Turn off the runway to the left. and come to a stop.
But if I don't do exactly what he's saying, I kind of feel like the scenario might end. See, his headings and the green vertical bars are not tying up with each other.
Good. Stop here.
Anyway.
Superb. Congratulations on your first landing.
Yeah,
That
you're
was
welcome,
a really
mate.
good approach. Nice touchdown.
Thanks. Yeah, out of all of them, I think that was the most mismatched from what I've seen. The 090 was a lie. The turn left 340 was a lie. It was more like 330. I think about 10 degrees off in each case, I think. The 1400 RPM didn't feel comfortable. I think I'd have gone for 1500 in that lesson. You'd have to. I had to do that, what, 3 times to get it nailed? So anybody new to flight simming would be probably struggling with that one, I reckon, out of all of them. I don't think there's enough here. Taking off, I mean, that's just like super easy. Straight and level, that was good. Getting people to trim properly. Climbs and descents, again, that's really useful. It gets people to learn how to throttle up and pitch to maintain speed and altitude that they want. So again, really useful. Turn to headings, nowhere near long enough. And should have continued to allow you to carry on practicing headings. They should have possibly thought about hooking into this or hooking onto the back of that some VOR stuff. Just saying, oh, I've tuned in a VOR for you. You just need to watch this dial down here and just turn until it lines up, and then explain it a little bit more. This one, approach and landing, out of all of the lessons, landing is like the hardest thing in this, in flight simming. Landing is the hardest thing. And as it says, getting the approach right is the key to a good landing. I don't feel like that was a great lesson, if I'm honest with you. There's definitely room for improvement there. Okay, there's 9 other lessons over here, so that's fine. Single engine piston landing in the municipal airfield. But I'm guessing it's going to be similar. Alright, so there's actually more stuff here, so that's interesting. I didn't know that. I've not been to this before. Traffic pattern, emergency landing, steep turns, power stalls. Great, in that case, we're going to work through these as well. I actually genuinely thought there was only those lessons, but we shall carry on with this little mini-series. We'll do some more. Hope you enjoyed that. The videos will carry on with these, and they'll all be linked in the video description if you want to watch more. Until then, take care, guys, and happy flying.